Andy Kravis, thanks for joining us. How does 2011 look to you? An optimistic year or one that could have its hiccups?
Good question. 2011, in my view, on a global basis, will be better than certainly than 2008, 2009. If you believe that the global economy in part is driven by the U.S. is starting to show some recovery. It will go in fits and starts. We'll have a month or two that'll be good, maybe a quarter or two that will be good, and then after that there'll be some slowdown. So it's really right now a mixed bag. In my view, we're not going to have another financial crisis. I think that's behind us right now, particularly in the U.S. You still have some issues, question marks in Europe. Europe, of course, is really a bifurcated market. You have your southern countries that question mark, whether that be Greece, Italy, Spain, Portugal, and of course Ireland. But then you have in Europe a strong Germany right now, a not so bad France, and a Nordic region that is doing exceptionally well right now. So those markets should be much stronger in 2011. The U.S., I'm fairly optimistic, and as I think about your country in India, I'd be very surprised if you don't at least do 8% GDP growth this year.
Is much of this optimism depending on the state of the U.S. economy? I'm imagining that if the recovery does kick in, then it will have a ripple effect. So is the optimism largely led by recovery actually happening on the ground in the U.S.?
Well, I think it's partly that. You have so many growth opportunities in your own country, and it is now kicked into gear. You also have a lot of issues that you're facing, whether it be the twin deficits that you have, your current account deficit, your fiscal deficit, both of which have to be tackled, or down the road, that will start to cause a problem here. As long as foreign investment continues to flow in to the country, I think you're going to be fine. What point does that stop? Question mark. As long as your growth continues, yes, everyone's looking for return. Everyone is looking for where to put it.
Yeah.
But what I'd like to see, which I think will help your country more than anything else and ensure that you have continued growth, is open up your markets more. For example, your insurance market, the limitation of 26% ownership, or certain limits on banks of 49%, or the telecom industry, etc., media. Opening those up will attract much more foreign direct investment. And that's the piece, in my view, that you have to focus on for sustained growth in this economy.
So do you feel at somewhere that the current euphoria that's chasing emerging markets, in particular India, is led by what is hot money or fast money coming in from the US or Europe for lack of opportunities elsewhere? And as a result, what we're seeing is probably slightly inflated expectations from the countries here?
I think that's right. I mean, I think it's a little of both. You have real growth here, okay? You can't deny that. There are companies that are growing, and they're growing 20-25% a year in their revenue line, and they're operating more efficiently than they did historically. But part of the flow of funds is always going to be, where else can I put my money? So if you have cross-border money coming in, the U.S. is very strong, and all of a sudden rates of return there are significantly better than they had been over the last few years, then money will tend to stay there or go there as opposed to come here. Doesn't mean it's going to stop coming here, but you will have more freedom, less risk potentially in some of the developed markets as opposed to the emerging markets. But there's no question in my mind, and I've been coming to India for a long time, starting in the late 80s, that the growth is real here. Yes, there's a lot of issues that you're facing. For example, I don't understand why your country doesn't have a better developed corporate bond market. I've never known a country, no matter where it is, that will show sustained growth over a long period of time without very deep and very broad capital markets.
Those are some of the issues that you mentioned. Now, I do know that you've been meeting with Kapil Sibal or even P. Chidambaram for that matter. What is it that you get a feeling about India this time? Because you've arrived when we have been in the thick of scams, alleged corruption cases. What does this mean from a global standpoint as you see India?
Look, I can't really comment on that. There clearly are issues that your country is facing, that Parliament is facing right now with these. Developing countries have issues, and they're always going to be, and they're going to be in fits and starts. Hopefully, as a foreign investor, and we put a lot of money into your country, and we will continue to put money into your country, we hope that this will be something that will be tackled, and it will be tackled very aggressively.
You see that conviction. That's the important
I hope so. I mean, I really hope so. I can't say that I see it yet. Depends who I talk to. There's a lot of hope. And there's now maybe the desire to tackle some of these issues that are facing your country. But you have to do it, because at some point, if you don't, and it continues to get worse, then you will affect foreign direct investment.
Markets are like music, where each note has a meaning. Find the rhythm of the markets with me, Ashwini Gujral. Bearish or bullish, markets move all the time. Catch the upswings and protect your portfolio during bear markets with expert chart analysis.
Create wealth with India's top technical analysts. Only on ET Now.
इंडिया जहाँ जाने वाला एक और छोड़ने वाले अनेक, इसलिए लोगन स्पेस नो प्रॉब्लम. Logan loves India.
Maximize the mid-cap advantage with India's doyen of technical analysis, Deepak Mohni. Trade at a profit, whether bears or bulls are in charge. Only on ET Now.
From KKR's standpoint, the India story has had multiple faces. There's been a consumer side of the story, an infrastructure side of the story. What do you think is going to be attractive about India in the coming few years where KKR would like to drive investment?
Look, India is a growth story. There's no question about it. No matter whom I talk to here, there's excitement about the future. In fact, quite frankly, I love coming here because I get fired up when I come here. I mean, people talk about growth. They don't talk about 9.5% unemployment and maybe we'll grow at 1% or 2% like you see in the developed countries.
You can wipe off your gloom a little bit here.
No, this is terrific. So I love coming here and talking to people. But it reminds me so much of the early days in America where we needed everything and there was opportunity for everything. It didn't matter whether it's growth in telecom, whether it's growth in your automobile industry. I mean, think about the few people that own cars today. Everybody wants to move up in life. They want a better standard of living. They want to eat better. They want to live better. In a little larger house. They would like to have heat. They would like to have a toilet. They would like to have whatever it is. Those are opportunities, and that's what we see in India. We're not buying that many companies. What we're doing here is really providing growth capital and becoming a true partner with the entrepreneurs and the promoters in these companies. So we bring our global expertise, which we have developed over a long period of time at KKR. We are bringing to these companies that expertise in governance, the opportunity to improve productivity, the opportunity to put the proper metrics into their business so that they can manage the business better. So I really look at this as a two-pronged effect. Number one, we have to find the right partners. That's critical. That's probably choice number one. Obviously, you have to find the right industries, but almost any industry today has a growth characteristic to it. And then what you bring with that is the opportunity to make that company a better company by partnering with the entrepreneur, helping them develop a larger global company which we can bring.
Exactly. What would be the thinking, for example? It's widely known that KKR has massive interest in the auto sector led by the potential investment in Hero Honda. Hero Honda has finally announced its split with its partner Honda. What do you think an investment like this can bring to the table for KKR in the future? It's already a listed firm. It's already very much in the public domain. So essentially, what does it do for KKR?
Charlie, as much as I'd love to talk about individual investments, I can't talk about individual investments, and I won't. And interestingly, over the period of time, we have bought about 150 different companies, and of course each of them have bought other companies. And we have spent about $475 billion making investments in companies around the world. So we bring an operating bent, an industrialist approach. That's really what we bring. And if we don't think, or the partners that we're going to team with don't think that we bring real value, our capital is a commodity. So we have to bring something to the partnership that is besides just the money. It doesn't make any sense. If it's just to buy stock in the public market, we may do that. We have opportunities to do that through different pieces, but I'm focused on what I'm saying right now on our private equity business, which is a long-term focused. You know, we have an average holding period of 7.5 years. That's average over the last 34 years.
Let me flip the question and ask you, are Indian promoters of large-scale companies, whether it's companies like Hero Honda or others, becoming more and more open to the idea now to have private equity alliances at a stage like this when they are already well established?
Absolutely. There's no question about it. We see more and more receptivity today to have us involved. Every time I come here, there's more and more people that are open to having us as their partner to help them. Let me give you an example. One such company, Dalmia, which is in the cement business, and we just became a partner with them, a minority investor. And I always like to ask the question, why do you want KKR involved? And because I want to make sure that we can fulfill their desire. And Puneet Dalmia said it very succinctly. He said, I want to make sure that I have the best governance possible. You can bring that to us. You bring the operating expertise that you have from many years of operating in different industries around the world. You bring the 100-day plan, which will help us think forward on our strategy and how can we improve the business.
But on the other hand, some of the other companies might engage you for more global ambitions. I mean, everybody's talking about, KKR's interest in the energy space. Shale gas is a story that's being talked about, and in India, several players, but primarily Reliance is very interested in it. What is the big story around shale gas? Why is it such a huge hot space?
Well, we're interested in the energy, period. And why? Energy, first of all, the demand for energy on a global basis is not going away. As your country, as China, as Brazil, as a lot of other developing and emerging countries grow, there's going to be more and more demand. As more cars are put onto the road, there's going to be demand. As people want heat and air conditioning, there's a demand that will be there. So number one, we're playing it as a macro factor. Specifically on shale gas and shale oil. Shale gas is a relatively new concept. We bought in the United States into a company called East Resources. We've been looking in the area for a long time. We found a terrific partner in Terry Pagula, who had developed a private company but needed capital during the downturn. We liked it because we believed that if you get into the business at an early stage, there's an enormous amount of efficiencies and opportunities that we could bring and could partner with. So shale gas is another form of gas in the U.S. And around the world, but particularly in the U.S. Oil, conventional oil, it's a depleting asset, and so people are figuring out there's a lot of gas, there's a lot of coal, so not bad, and it's a very clean process.
But are Indian energy giants ready for this global makeover?
I think so. Absolutely. I mean, we've been talking to a number of them, and they're quite interested in the energy sector, and they've been very vocal in some cases about it. And we're talking to a few of them about how do we partner with you in the energy